The tragic case of Richard and Nancy Oakes is a harrowing example of how unresolved marital discord and financial strife can culminate in violence. The murder of Nancy Oakes by her husband Richard not only highlights the devastating impact of personal and economic conflicts, but also serves as a sobering reminder of the extremes to which human emotions can drive individuals. This case, marked by betrayal, financial instability, and ultimately murder, offers a profound insight into the dark side of domestic strife. Background of Richard and Nancy Oakes. Richard and Nancy Oakes were a married couple who had built a life together over 2 decades. Richard, a businessman, was known for his entrepreneurial ventures, while Nancy managed the household and cared for their children. From the outside, their life appeared stable, but beneath the veneer of normalcy lay deep-seated issues that would eventually erupt into violence. The Oakes' financial troubles began several years before the murder, stemming from Richard's failing business ventures. His business was struggling, leading to significant financial losses and mounting debt. This financial strain created immense stress within the family and began to take a toll on their relationship. The couple's financial issues became a source of constant conflict, exacerbating their marital problems. The deterioration of the marriage. As the financial situation worsened, so did the relationship between Richard and Nancy. Arguments over money became a regular occurrence, with each partner blaming the other for their financial woes. The once familiar love and companionship that characterized their marriage were replaced by hostility and resentment. The couple's financial problems were compounded by accusations of infidelity. Both Richard and Nancy accused each other of being unfaithful, further straining their already fragile relationship. This mistrust and betrayal added another layer of complexity to their marital discord. The emotional and financial pressures created a toxic environment, where every interaction was fraught with tension and bitterness. Their deteriorating marriage was marked by frequent arguments and threats, creating a volatile atmosphere at home. The stress of their financial difficulties, combined with personal grievances, made their relationship increasingly unstable. Despite attempts to resolve their issues, the couple was unable to find common ground or alleviate the mounting strain on their marriage. The crime. The situation reached a devastating climax in 2010, when Richard Oakes was charged with the murder of his wife, Nancy. The murder occurred during a particularly intense argument, fueled by the accumulation of personal and financial grievances. On the night of the crime, Richard and Nancy had a heated argument that escalated into violence. Richard, overwhelmed by anger and frustration, attacked Nancy. The murder was brutal and violent, reflecting the extreme emotional state Richard was in. The severity of the attack shocked the community and highlighted the dangerous consequences of unresolved marital conflict. Richard's actions were driven by a combination of personal and financial pressures that had reached a breaking point. Following the murder, Richard Oakes was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The investigation into the crime revealed the depth of the couple's issues and the circumstances that led to the fatal confrontation. The evidence uncovered during the investigation painted a grim picture of the relationship between Richard and Nancy. The investigation. The investigation into Nancy Oakes' murder was thorough and detailed. Law enforcement authorities quickly identified Richard as the primary suspect due to the evidence and the circumstances surrounding the crime. The investigation revealed the extent of the couple's personal and financial problems, shedding light on the factors that led to the murder. Investigators interviewed witnesses and reviewed evidence related to the couple's relationship and financial situation. Testimonies from family members, friends, and neighbors provided insight into the troubled nature of the Oakes marriage. The evidence included records of the couple's financial difficulties, their frequent arguments, and the emotional turmoil leading up to the crime. Forensic evidence played a crucial role in linking Richard to the murder. The brutality of the attack and the physical evidence collected at the crime scene confirmed his involvement. Richard's own statements and admissions of guilt further solidified the case against him. The investigation revealed a tragic and disturbing picture of the events leading up to Nancy's death. The trial. The trial of Richard Oakes was a highly emotional and publicized event. The courtroom was filled with spectators, including family members and media representatives, all eager to learn the details of the case. The prosecution presented a compelling case, detailing the evidence of Richard's guilt and the circumstances surrounding the murder. Witnesses testified about the Oakes' troubled marriage and the financial strain that contributed to their conflicts. The prosecution argued that Richard's actions were the result of extreme anger and frustration, fueled by his financial difficulties and personal grievances. The brutality of the murder was highlighted as a key factor in establishing Richard's guilt. Richard's defense team argued that his actions were the result of an unstable mental state caused by the extreme stress and emotional turmoil he had been experiencing. They portrayed him as a man driven to violence by the overwhelming pressure of his financial problems and marital issues. Despite these arguments, the evidence against Richard was substantial and convincing. The jury deliberated on the evidence presented during the trial and ultimately found Richard 𝐸𝐻𝐸 guilty of first-degree murder. The conviction was a significant moment in the case, bringing some measure of justice for Nancy 𝐸𝐻𝐸 and her family. Richard was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, reflecting the severity of his crime. The aftermath. The conviction of Richard 𝐸𝐻𝐸 brought a sense of closure to the case, but it did little to alleviate the pain and suffering caused by the murder. The loss of Nancy 𝐸𝐻𝐸 was a profound tragedy for her family and friends, and the impact of her death was felt deeply by those who knew her. The case also highlighted the broader issue of how financial strain and personal grievances can lead to extreme violence. The 𝐸𝐻𝐸 case serves as a tragic reminder of the potential consequences of unresolved conflicts and the importance of addressing underlying issues in relationships. The violence that erupted in the 𝐸𝐻𝐸's home underscores the need for effective interventions and support systems to prevent such tragedies. In the wake of the case, there has been increased attention to the need for support services for individuals experiencing financial difficulties and relationship problems. The 𝐸𝐻𝐸's case underscores the importance of seeking help and finding constructive ways to manage conflicts and stress. The tragic story of Richard and Nancy 𝐸𝐻𝐸 serves as a sobering reminder of the extreme consequences that unresolved issues can have on individuals and families. That's it for today's video. What do you think of our video? Please let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.